Average at Best Cornhole here. I'm still a huge fan of linen bags. It just seems like linen bags, I mean, they have that super nice, soft hand feel to them, and it gives you confidence and it kind of lets you throw a little bit better, a little bit straighter from that confidence. And I have here the Voodoo 2.0, which is Nola's take on a slower linen bag. And I say take on a slower linen bag because, like all other things Nola, this is a unique combination of materials, and I think it works well for this bag. And I'm going to get into a lot more detail, but when these bags really do slow down, super easy to throw a block with them, and it really upsets your opponent. It's kind of like a nuisance to them when you're playing them, especially in super slow conditions. Jumping right into the materials, it is a linen bag. So the slow side of this bag, I'm not extremely familiar with. I did do some research and I found out that it might be the same one that's on Swag Bag's Delirium slow side. And I would agree with that. It does play a lot like that bag did, and it is super temperamental. Like, this thing is really affected by board conditions or humidity or other different playing surfaces that you have to deal with. The fast side, so this is the same one that's on the Mud Bug and the Jazz from Nola, but I'm really not familiar with it on any other series. Nola rates the speeds for this bag at a 4.5 on the slow side with an 8 on the fast side. And Nola has told me that, you know, the speed that he rates the bags, it's like an average over the playing surfaces. And I think that is really important for this slow side, because it is so temperamental, because it does change. I've seen this slow side play down to a 2 into the evenings with a lot of moisture on the board. But I've also seen it play like a 6 when it's sunny out and completely dry, but then it slows down to like a 4 when it's sunny out and a little humid. Like, this is really a material that you need to break it out your bag, throw it down and back a couple times, and see how it's playing at that exact moment for you to decide if you want to continue throwing these bags. They do have a standard template, and it's a standard Nola template as well. It's a medium template, and I would say the fullness is probably just a little bit under medium fullness. So I don't want to say they're a thin bag by any means at all, but they're also not a full bag. And I think it's just, you know, just a touch under medium thinness. Fill and flop for this series, it's also a little unique because it does have a mixed fill to it, which isn't super common nowadays with linen bags. I think it does a couple things. When the boards are a little sticky, when these bags are playing super slow, that mixed fill makes them super active. But when it's not, you know, when it's normal conditions and these bags are playing a little bit faster, that mixed fill does give it a lot of whole bodiness because those rounds don't want to settle. As far as the flop, they're definitely a floppy bag. They're like, it's kind of hard to explain. It's like these materials both are very soft, both are very flexible. So when you lay this bag down, it's not necessarily like super thin, but when you pick it up, it does give you a lot of flop because those materials kind of flex over your hand. But also when you go to grip it, I mean, everything gets locked in pretty tight because those materials kind of flex and expand and allow the fill to fill out the corners when you're gripping it. And also, like most other Nola bags, these do weigh a little bit on the heavier side. If you look at nominal at 16 ounces, these are above that. So there is a lot of fill in here. And it is a nice weighted bag, and it gives you a little bit more weight when you're throwing it to push through things or try to keep that momentum so they do fall in the hole. The highlight for this series in normal conditions is that mixed fill in it and how it helps the bags drip, because it is a, you know, generally a stickier material on that slow side that potentially could get hung up on you. But I think adding that mixed fill and that extra weight in the bag really adds to that drippiness. The highlight of it playing in those slow conditions is what I just said. Like, you play the fast side, but then when you want to lay the perfect blocker, it's so easy. Just flip it over to the slow side and lay the block, and then continue playing that fast side so you beat your own blocker. The low lights for them, though, and this is the biggest problem, like, depending on how you want to throw in that day, and you don't really know. You don't really know the board conditions. You don't really know how much humidity is in the air. So you really have to throw this bag a few times and try it out on the boards you're going to be playing to decide if that's the style game you want to play for that day. When you are playing these bags in a normal condition, say when that speed is right around the 5.5, I do think they're fairly forgiving, even though they have that mixed fill, but it's a linen bag in it. You know, it has that flex, so the beads kind of hit and disperse for you and they don't kick that much. When it gets way too slow, when they're playing like at that 2 or 3, they're just coming to a stop anyway, so you don't have to worry about kick. Where you do have to worry is like right in between that, because when they are a little tacky, a little sticky, but still moving up the board, they are going to kick on you, and that's just because of the nature of that linen material with this mixed fill, but it's something that you can judge and you can play while you're throwing them. The slow side, I mean, it is tacky. It can hang up on you, which in my mind is a good thing if it's in the front of the hole, because I think, you know, having a hanger in the front of that hole, that's probably the best shot in cornhole, because you know it's going to be easy to clean that bag up. It's already hanging. It's just more of a distraction to your opponent because they think you got a blocker up there. It's something that they have to push through, and they have to think a little bit more about pushing through that bag. I did kind of figure it out though after I was playing them a little bit. You just got to add more spin to it. It seemed like more spin getting this bag rotating on the board decreased the chances of it hanging up on you. The bags collected well too. I really didn't see an issue of like them bouncing off each other when I was trying to make collects. The only problem is, you know, with that slow side being a little bit more stickier, you really have to throw these hard to push through your blocker. If not, both those bags are going to kind of come to a stop as well. So just flip it over, make sure you put a little bit of front tilt on it, and it should be able to push through and get that slow side that's sticking to the board already moving again. Playability, it's just all over the place for these bags. It's like, seriously, it's one of those bags you got to get out there and throw at that moment in time to see how they're playing. But I do have a few thoughts on it, and I wasn't upset when they were playing super sticky, like I said, you know, because we played these into the evening sometimes while we were, you know, finishing the break-in on them, when there was actual moisture on the board, and these things came to a dead stop. But when we were doing that, no one wanted to throw against these bags because it was such a pain in the butt having that bag sitting on the board that would not move. And like I said, that's your blocker bag. I mean, the fast side on this is the slow side on another Nola series, the Big Easy. So you can play this fast side, especially in those wet, humid conditions, because then now it slows down to like a normal throwing speed. So play that fast side. Only use that block that, you know, from the slow side when you want to distract your opponent, and they're not going to be able to move it. Now, in normal conditions or, you know, super dry or whatever, these are really good at running holes just because of that looseness, the flex. And like I said, you know, you get that confidence from holding a good soft linen bag. And then when it does slow down a little bit and these start to get in that 4.5 range, which is like their normal playing condition, now it becomes a dirty bag. You put a little bit more spin on it if you want to get the bag to move. You lay off that spin if you want to do the blocker, but you're going to be able to cut and roll and flop and manipulate these bags as much as you want, because now they're playing at that normal speed and they are sticking to the board and they are moving for you. You can find this series at nolabags.com. Nola, he's on the socials. It's just at Nola Bags LLC. And if you get on Facebook, there is a fan page, which is Nola Bags fan page. Designs and availability, the website, it's pretty stocked now with different designs. I know Nola keeps adding some throughout the season, but there is multiple colorways, different logo designs, different artwork designs. Just hop on that website and check it out. Nola's cost, it's still pretty good, even though the ACL raised the minimum on him. Right at $90. There is discount codes available. If you hop onto the socials, especially getting that fan page, you'll see some of the reps promoting their code. Use that when making the purchase. These Voodoo 2.0, it was a unique linen bag. I really liked that about it. It was something different, something I'm really, really not familiar with and used to. And I think the naming for it is, you know, really, really appropriate because they do some voodoo on the boards. It's like you really have to play them in the moment to see how they play, and then you adjust your play style for the bag, but it's just going to be completely different every time you throw them. And I think that's what was really neat about it. It made you think a little bit more when you're playing cornhole instead of just stepping up the board and playing the same way that you always do play. These bags maybe made you switch your style up a little bit for that day. I think that the slow side, the only downfall on it was that it could hang up on you. It just seemed like they got a little sticky when they were in the hole, you know, half hanging in the hole, but there was no issue cleaning that up when they were hanging. The biggest issue was, you know, trying to move a collect bag with these, because that was a little bit harder in my mind. When all that fabric was laying on the board, they became super sticky. But other than that, I mean, I started adding a little bit more spin to it, and I was able to run holes with these bags, but I was still able to manipulate them and put a lot of tilt on them and make them flop down and do what I wanted to do once I figured it out. I'm just going to end this with, if you want to be average at something, be average at cornhole.